Hello, this is my GAM271 assessment walkthrough playthrough of my level that I've made. So I've used the Lyra starter engine as a base. So that comes with a bunch of scenes, some of which I've taken out and some of which are here. So for example, the first one is this the actual start menu for the game. So this is just comes default. I did try to change the background, that did not work, so I've talked about that in my channel a bit, because I didn't have time to finish that. I've added a piece of text that displays properly, so just telling you to play the level, press the play Lyra button and either host a game or quick play. So if you press play and you press quick play, it'll start a game. It'll take you into my level, which is loading in now. The music is quite loud, so I'm going to turn it down. There you go. So you'll see the minimap loads in at the top left, and then the player loads in, and everything works as intended. There are 8 players, including you, so the AI has 4 players, and if someone else joins, that will go down to 3 and 2 and so on, depending on how many real players are in, because it's multiplayer. I've added multiple things, so all the art assets in the level are made by me. This includes all the boxes, the barrels, the buildings, the scenery, the water, everything you see apart from the red and the blue characters is made by me. So if I jump around the map and show you. So I've got 5 main types of buildings. I've got a prison. I have a saloon, which has a sign out front. Here you see it. I'm going to pause it actually. I have a church with a graveyard. I have a bank. I have a docks with some scenery in the background, and then a warehouse to the side with boxes and stuff outside. And I have a stable. And yeah, those are the main sort of assets. Everything you see is made by me, so I have modelled all the models in Blender, and in my journal I've got photos proving that I've made them and talking about how I've made some of the main assets. I haven't talked about every single asset just because it would take way too long. Yeah, I've changed the game to use control points, so the control points work, A, B and C, the players run into them and it'll update. I've added some neat things, just wanted to highlight a couple things. So I've added a 3D model I made a mine shaft area sort of thing, you can see here. And I've imported a animation which is using a physics object in Blender to create these barrels that fall down. That was something I'm quite proud of. I have made the water. So the water, it used to be a big desert basically, but as I was playing the game I realised it kind of didn't make sense, and from my research I did, quite a lot of TDM shooters, which is what it says, are on a kind of island, I guess. So I have made this into an island from what it was, so I've added in bits of scenery. I've sculpted the landscape using the landscape tools. So in here I've done all the landscape and everything. I've added, because I wasn't able to change the player models themselves, I did try, but I wasn't able to in time, to sell the sort of like cowboy aesthetic. I've given them all cowboy hats basically. So I've modelled a cowboy hat and I've integrated that in with their model. I have changed a couple of the things on the way the game actually runs. So for example, the players don't do as much damage to the AI, and the AI doesn't have perfect aim on the players anymore, because before I found that there was an error and it would be very, very hard for the player to actually run around and play the game and enjoy it, because the player would just instantly die basically. So as you can see, I can stand out here for a bit while I'm getting shots at, and I only take like 50% of the damage. This means that I'm able to create a much more fun player experience basically. There are 4 main starting bits. So there's one here, there's one over here, there's one down here in the mines, and then there's one over by the beach. I changed this, I've done this basically because from researching games like Valorant and other TDM like Apex Legends and stuff, they tend to not all just spawn in the center, which is where they used to. So they used to just spawn in this like center bit here. this was really boring. It didn't give the player much of a reason to explore the map, which has cool little hidden details in places. Yeah, the AI work flawlessly. They can go anywhere where there's green. They cannot get up the side of the buildings, neither can the player. They can go into the buildings, so all the buildings have interiors, pretty much. So for example, this is the bank's interior, and you can see the AI can go through and access all bits of the bank. They can get the weapons, they can see. The game loop works, so even though I did have some issues, the whole thing works, so errors at the top of the screen don't really matter. And then when you restart the game, it loads you back into the same level, reloads everything, and you're good to go. The only other thing I want to say is the minimap at the Wild took a bit of time to make it work, so I didn't have time to implement where you can see the other players on it. But from player feedback I had of this build, which is the final one, they have said it's a lot easier to figure out where you are and where to go, because your location gets updated in real time along with the rotation of your character, so you can always see where you're meant to be going. And yeah, that's about it.